Well, hello, everybody, and happy Monday. You're listening to CHLY 101.7 FM right here in beautiful Vancouver Island, particularly in Nanaimo. And we're so glad that you tuned in. On today's program, I am delighted to have Shannon Groenewegen. Oh, I don't know if I got that right. And Louise Clark. They are both from Aurora Wellness Centre. We're going to talk all things of taking care of ourselves and each other. Welcome to the program, ladies. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
we're really glad to have you. It's always nice to share things that are happening in our community and things that we can do to have, take good care of ourselves. So I'm going to start off with either one of you, Louise or Shannon, who would like to jump in and tell us a little bit about what brought you to this work.
Okay, well, I guess I will start. So I opened up the center back in 2017. I used to work at the X-ray clinic, and then I worked for VHA. And I just felt like I was already learning, because learning is very important, I think, for us, and it ignites something in our soul. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so I was always interested in learning, and I learned a lot about photobiomodulation therapy. And so I went and learned about it and studied it. And I ended up buying my own machine for my mom, who had dementia at that time, only to find out when I did the learning that it helps in so many other ways for people. So I was doing it out of my home and helping friends of friends of friends and in the evening after work. And my son said, "You have this building on your property, build it and people will come." And
Yes,
that's
yes.
how it started for me.
So you started, what was the name of the machine that you said that you had purchased to start with? What was it called?
So it's a Thor, and it's a photobiomodulation. It's light therapy and laser light therapy.
Yeah, I was wondering because I've never heard of the name of that equipment before. So
Mm.
what does light therapy do for us?
So what light therapy does is it reduces the oxidative stress in the mitochondria in your cells, and
Mhm.
it increases the ATP, which is the energy of our cells. Our cells are always rejuvenating, and so what that does is it helps to rejuvenate healthy cells. So if there's inflammation in the body, it helps to reduce the inflammation. If there's pain, tendinopathies, neuropathies, the laser helps with that as well to reduce the pain. So it kind of acts as an analgesic, and it reduces the pain in those areas. I've treated like sciatic, hip replacements, knee
Wow.
replacements. Yeah, so that was my passion when I first started. And I was kind of looking for a wellness center that brought everything and all people's needs. So there's a lot that we actually do here. And Shannon's more our expert in the beauty aspect of it. And for the mind, I believe in the mind, the body, and soul being harmonized all as one. So
Absolutely. And I'm a big fan of putting your best self forward whenever you
mhm.
possibly can. And beauty is a big part of that. And we look at beauty very differently as we age and, that we once did, in the past. Shannon, that's obviously is what brought you guys together is your passion.
Mhm.
Why don't you share with us a little bit more about your journey in that?
Well, I actually started out as a social worker, and I've always wanted to be in the helping industry, helping people in some way. My dad was a social worker, and I saw all the things that he was able to do and the people that he reached. And so I started on that journey. And then, as a woman, had children, followed my husband around as his job brought us all over Canada, and starting and stopping jobs. And always knowing there was something deep down inside I wanted to do, but never quite getting there. And eventually, actually, a physician reached out to me and asked me if I would help him create a medical aesthetics clinic. And I was a little nervous, but I was at that point in my life where I thought, I'm just going to do it. I had tried a few other things. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what Botox was. I didn't know what fillers were. laser or anything. But since he was just starting out, we grew together, and you know, the education I got was invaluable. And I kind of thought this industry was going to be a little superficial compared to what I'd been doing. But what I learned over the 7 years was that when the women came in and I would do the consultations, how many women gave and gave and gave their whole lives, but not to themselves. And then they would arrive at the clinic and they would look in the mirror and they would say, this is just not who I am on the inside. I just feel like, you know, some of them, maybe their marriages have broken up and the kids have left home or whatever. It was so many different situations. But when we actually cared about them and helped them look healthier and better on the outside, the joy it brought them and the confidence. Like, I had so many women cry. One lady said, if I could do a cartwheel, I would do a cartwheel. And, you know, as a social worker, it might take months and years to change. But what I found was actually, especially with like acne scarring and things like that, when you actually care about someone and help them meet their needs and help them meet their goals, they rapidly start to feel better. And it was really kind of a beautiful thing to realize. Fast forward, I left and went and worked somewhere different. And then I worked for a laser company, and that's how I met Louise. And I walked into this, I've walked into many places, but I walked into this wellness center, and the smell, the feeling, the colors just instantly made me feel so peaceful. And when I met Louise, I felt an absolute instant connection, just a soul sister. Like, I can't even tell you. Like, she's a beautiful human, and I'm blessed to be learning from her now. And we've kind of come together and we're learning together and growing. And her philosophy is the same about, like, she is just always giving and caring. And you know, and I feel like she is giving to me all the time, and my bucket's so full. So I was thinking of retiring, but the opposite's happening. Her word for this year is expanding. And I said to her, really? Does it have to be expanding? Oh my gosh, because that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But you're expanding, and it's, the timing is always right. You know what I'm saying? Like, when the universe opens up the door for people to unite and come together with a brilliant idea that is going to help a lot of people, then doors just magically open and things, you know. I recognized, for our listeners, they're not in the living room with you right now or in the space that you're in right now, as this is being recorded on Zoom for other venues, for YouTube, of course, and others. We are able to actually see you. And so the softness of the greens and the whites and the earth tones, it's just a very, very beautiful backdrop to this conversation.
And I wish you could smell it in here.
It's wonderful. So there's a couple of secrets about this wellness that we often, you know, jump over. And the smell of things, our olfactory ability to find calmness in essential oils and things like this. Is this part of the practice that you do, is to teach people how to use these oils? Or is it just that you want to have a wonderful smelling environment?
Well, it's a bit of both. Yes.
Yeah.
We definitely teach people. We have events here as well. And so a lot of healing events, sound bath healing. So taking that vibration into our bodies to enlighten us. Definitely teaching about our lymphatic system, dry brushing, gua sha tools with our facials and our IPL treatments as well. So how important that is for us as we age, keeping that lymphatic drainage happening. I also teach about like journaling, walking meditations, little different tools that can help. There's a lot that we actually do here.
Reiki.
There's yoga, bioenergy healing, massage. I do an Ayurvedic massage as well. So yeah, there's definitely lots happening. And I have an acupuncturist that rents from up. So she's upstairs, and she's a Chinese medicine as well.
And then we have the whole anti-aging side of it. So she has a state-of-the-art laser, and redness, brown spots.
I was going to say, can we talk about laser a little bit? Because I personally, and forgive my ignorance for it, that's one of the reasons I love having people like yourself on the show, is that I'm learning along this way. I'm a little nervous about some of the procedures that women have. You know, I can't wrap my head around having a shot of Botox in my forehead while I truly do actually need one.
You don't need it,
a
you
big
have
crack.
bangs.
Yeah, I have bangs. I have bangs on purpose. But, you know, there are things about our skin, right, that exfoliation and all of that stuff is a great thing. But I don't know enough about laser to understand it. So I just wonder if you could sort of give us a little bit of insight on some of the facial techniques that one, you know, uses to bring our best selves forward. How I guess it's the easiest way for me to say it.
Yeah, essentially laser, all the lasers do a little bit of a different thing, but what they all do is promote collagen and elastin. And that's just something that as we age, we slow down and we're not producing collagen and elastin, and our texture can get rougher, our skin can get thinner. Living here on the island, our lifestyle, we see a lot of brown spots and redness and rosacea. So the lasers that are here at Aurora treat all of those things. We have intense pulse.
Skin? Is that the idea behind the laser? It just will take the layer of skin off, or is it?
Not necessarily. It depends which laser. Yeah. So if we've got a laser that will focus on texture, so just improving the texture of your skin, reducing fine lines and wrinkles, stimulating collagen and elastin, getting rid of the little red vessels and the rosacea, and then brown spots and all the, I think people underestimate when you have nice even skin tone, you look a lot younger than when it's all blotchy red and brown. And I think of when I used to run, my chest would be kind of this mottled look, and it really made me realize that's why we wear foundation, to get that smooth even skin tone. That's what the lasers do, but they do it without downtime. So you might get a bit red and rosy, but your skin's not falling off, or it's not that kind of a laser.
It also has a sapphire cooling tip, so it's not like you're going to feel any heat from it at all, because it's very cooling. And we always finish our sessions, our treatments, with a facial cooling mask and the gua sha cooling tools as well. So
she always gives a foot massage.
Yeah.
It's not included in the menu,
it's just like, sign me up, right? As soon as you say that, just sign me up. I'm on my way. Actually, one of the big things I know that a lot of women that I know are really frustrated with, and we're seeing a whole bunch of stuff all over Facebook and social media right now about products that will get rid of smoker lines or these fine lines that we get on the top of our lip. And so I wonder, do any of your treatments help to deal with those kinds of topical wrinkles that, they're still there, but you're really masking them in some way or another? And what does that look like for?
Yeah, I would say a regular photofacial, because the reason that we get lines here is because this is where we lose volume here, and actually right here. Those are the first places.
So
and that's what brings our face down. Yeah, and that's what causes. So stimulating collagen and elastin is sort of your best defense. These laser procedures, they're not expensive. They're very effective. Louise and I do them about once a month. I'm going to be 62 in a couple of weeks. And I don't do really much else than regular laser treatments. She also has the carbon
Well, you don't
peel.
look 62, so just a heads up, let's start with that.
It really, and I wear sunscreen. I mean, it really comes down to, you don't have to do these really invasive treatments to get somewhere. She has a skin tightening device. We use that as well. That helps to lift. It also stimulates collagen and elastin. For texture, oh my gosh, we just started doing the carbon peel. You put black carbon on your face, and then you actually use a real laser. It's a 1064.
Yeah.
And you blast it off. And this lady came in, and her pores were just that congested, sebum.
Yeah.
It was crazy. We blasted off this carbon and her skin looked like a baby's bottom. I mean, even we were shocked.
Yeah,
I was like, get over here.
Wow.
So, and then she also does tattoo removal.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
we kind of, this is beautiful marriage of health, wellness, anti-aging, and Louise is always doing some sort of a healing touch.
It's called bioenergy.
She's just always doing this, and yeah. So it's just, I think it's just a wonderful place for women to come and feel cared about and loved. Never any pressure.
Mhm.
Her prices are ridiculously good. She's a giver. And we're always searching for something new. In fact, we're going to the ESI show and we're looking for new and wonderful things to offer.
Yeah. And then what I also try to promote is local businesses. So all my products that I have in here right now, you know, there's I've got a young girl that she is 12 and a half and designed like perfume, bath salts.
Oh my gosh, and she's 12 and a half?
12 and a half. And I told her,
Wow.
yes. Oh, I wish you could smell it. It's beautiful.
Amazing. Like, I'm in love with it.
Yeah. And so there's also like healing. Tamara Fosti has a lot of healing. We have soaps, bath salts, candles, jewelry. Yeah. Like
clothing. We have a lot of dresses and
yoga supplies. So there's lots here as well.
No kidding. No kidding.
I would show you, but we're out of power today.
That's perfectly okay. That's okay. But I do encourage our listeners to make sure you've got a piece of paper and a pen handy so that you'll be able to write down how people can find you. I'm saying that a little bit earlier than I normally do in our program, but I think it's really important that if you get an opportunity to take down this information, it's worth your while to do so and to explore you guys some more. So the two of you in regards to health and wellness, and you came together and have this wonderful, wonderful synergy on the things that you do. And I'm just curious, are there times when you feel like you have got it just right where you want it to be? And then you go, oh, more. I want to bring more to me, like more.
Every
And what does
day.
that look like? I mean, I would imagine like there's so much to learn about self-care that you must be like just in your joy moment everywhere.
Yeah. So I love creating. And so I love creating different workshops. I'm in the midst of doing some right now, even in with all my learning, learning different techniques. Dr. Darren Wiseman Lifeline technique I took in Italy, and I'm still doing his online course. So I want to bring that kind of thing because it resonates with the bioenergy to help people heal. Because yes, we can heal the body, but sometimes our mind controls. And so if we can harmonize that mind and calm that mind and release those stuck emotions, right? Try to honor our own self-worth. Yeah. So
yeah. And so when you talk about the workshops, do you have regular workshops? And so how often do you run them, and what might some of the subjects be? Are they specific to one? You tell us.
So there's many different ones. We do have a sound bath that we probably will run once a month, right? And Aurora, she's lovely. She comes and plays her bowls, gongs, drums, plays the flute, sings, like it's an all sound experience.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds fantastic. So
And
Aurora Wellness comes named after her, or was it her or company to
she
begin with?
she had the name. She loved the name, and she came here. It's not her biological name, but that's what she goes by. And
love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, she's very adorable. Hey, yeah.
And then you have yoga Reiki workshop this weekend.
Yeah. yoga Reiki workshop this weekend. I also have a life coaching workshop that's going to be happening in April. Oh, there's so many. Monroe Institute meditation. Well, so like I said, we're always creating and
Sounds
inviting
fantastic.
people to, use the yoga space for their own workshops. That's also another thing. A lot of people contact me to see if they could run a workshop out of the center. So,
And where's the center located?
we're at 1989 K Road. It's just outside of Parksville. It's actually in the news, but it's near the weigh scales in Parksville. So it's quick and easy access for people in Nanaimo, people in Parksville, and I even
Yeah,
have
for sure.
clients from Ladysmith, Cumberland, Courtney. So yeah.
That's great. So when you mentioned as well, like, do you have a favorite treatment that you love more than any other treatment, or a favorite practice that you love more than any other practice?
Oh, wow. So I would have to say a daily thing for me would be the photobiomodulation bed. So I have a bed where you can actually lay in it and it'll cycle through the red light therapy, near infrared, green light therapy, and blue for your face. So 20 minutes out of my day, I love that little healing. And I just love everything that we do because I love how people feel afterwards. I'm
Absolutely.
very grateful for being able to offer that to them and seeing how light and bright that they feel afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, there's some science behind light therapy. It truly can change the biometrics and work with your body in a way that does inspire healing. Especially after COVID, we've seen, thankfully we're all coming back into the world again. It's in many ways as though COVID never happened. We know it did for a lot of people. Are you seeing people now coming out of, Shannon, you were talking about in the social work field, right? When you're in social work, you tend to see a lot of negativity. You're now in an enjoyment part of your life that you're seeing a lot of positivity. Since COVID, are you seeing an increase of people that are wanting to use your services to kind of get rid of the blahs, or to get rid of, those pieces of unfinished business that we tend to carry around with us at times?
I think what I notice the most is, it sounds kind of funny, but I think people enjoy the services where they're being touched, where
Yes.
there is that human contact when, like, if the laser is one thing, and it is actually my favorite service. But then the mask and the gua sha and the foot rub, I mean, I think that is just the icing on the cake. I think people miss the interaction, seeing your face, knowing what you look like, and being able to be near you and being able to be cared for again. We can hug people again, which we do constantly. And we can put hands on them, and we can actually, just get those connections back. And I have really noticed that is so important. People were very isolated and lonely. And I think this is now the perfect time to embrace that we can be back together.
Yeah. And I think that you're right. I think that people missed touch. There's a large discussion about social isolation in older adults right now as being the next, cancer. It's that people are often by themselves for long periods of time. And we knew that before COVID hit. And then during COVID, of course, everyone experienced that, detachment to other people. And like you, I've really noticed that people want to come together now. They want to hug again. I'm a big hugger. So for me, it's like, that was the hardest thing for me in COVID,
I
was
know.
being able to hug people. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
it was tough.
There was so much negativity during COVID.
Yes.
There were two camps, and there was just a lot of people with really strong emotional feelings about it, and it separated people. And I think people have now been able to kind of let that go and just love each other again, regardless of their belief system, which I've always believed we should do that. I just don't, I mean, we're all going to have different opinions, and I just don't think we have to be divided because of them.
I agree.
Because we've all come from a different place. We all have different reasons for feeling those ways. So
And
I really
kind doesn't
didn't
have an opinion, right? Just to be kind to people.
Yeah.
Kindness doesn't have an opinion. It just
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, even if you do disagree with other people, isn't it
Mhm.
lovely that people can just sort of hold space for another
Mhm.
person's point of view? It's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, all
Yeah.
the things that people thought about aren't even really important anymore. Like a lot of it didn't even happen on either side, and life just moved forward. And I mean, we're both firm believers in
Embracing life.
yeah, and speaking
Mhm.
words of positivity.
Exactly.
And I am one of those people that if I live my life like things have already happened, that's something I've learned in my years, that you know, I have been known to almost get in the wrong car because I want this certain car. So I just believe I have it, and then I'm in the parking lot trying to get into a car that's not mine. Like I'm an expert at living my life like it's already happened, and I tell you, it is the greatest recipe ever.
I agree 1,000%. It's so true. It's if you can bring happiness to yourself by believing in it wholeheartedly and choosing positive over negative whenever you possibly can, right?
And that's probably what I love about Aurora. I don't need to go on a big vacation to feel special. Like I can make myself a special latte in the morning in a pretty cup and set it up on my mom's china and look out the window at the, you know, the geese or whatever, and feel like that's a special moment. Like I look forward to all those little moments, and I think that's why I like Aurora, because when I come in here, the moments are special. The people I meet,
Yes.
the things that we do, the things I see. I'm very visual, and that's sort of another little secret, I think, is just making, you know, every moment the I don't know, just the little things in life, making them the big things, because they add up to be your whole life, right?
Absolutely. And we never ever regret the good things in our lives, right?
Mhm.
The moments that we give ourselves to have
Mhm.
wonderful experiences. And you're quite right. It could be as simple as having a good cup of coffee on your deck, looking at the
Yeah.
world and seeing
Yeah.
this, you know, this place of calmness and beauty that is, I mean, we have the most beautiful world if we take the time to look at it.
So true.
Yeah.
And then I think that's what you attract. Like
I agree.
Louise and I are very like-minded, and we see that in each other, and
Mhm.
it just keeps building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beauty sees beauty. Beauty sees beauty.
Yeah. And
Listen,
then we met you.
I am well, and I love that too. I'll take it. Anytime we can all be beautiful together, let's
Yeah.
do that for sure. Listen, if you have just tuned in, you've tuned into Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. I'm Kathy Holmes. I'm delighted to be your host of Act 3. And in the Zoom booth with me today, I have two absolutely wonderful women sharing their wisdom on self-care. Shannon Groenewegen and Louise Clark, our guests of the program today. And we're talking Aurora Wellness Centre. So it's a good idea, if you haven't already gotten yourself a piece of paper and a pen, you're going to want to have it handy, because we want to tell you how you can find out more about these two fantastic women and the amazing, amazing services they have to make us feel really good about ourselves. I am so thankful that you're both here. And I also am a big believer in gratitude. And I noticed, you know, one of the reasons I reached out to you, Shannon, was because I noticed that whenever you post something on social media, it's always with this tone of loveliness and gratitude. How does gratitude manifest in your life?
So for me, I always sign off with infinite love and gratitude,
Yeah.
because I feel that being grateful, like the emotional signature of gratitude, means that it's already happened in your life. And you
Yes.
draw it closer. And
Yes.
feeling blessed and grateful every day for what we see, for what we hear, for what we feel. It's the whole embodiment of like harmonizing our soul.
Hmm.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And I am very grateful for life.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are. And I think I have learned to, even when, you know, things, when not great things happen.
Mhm.
I have learned to find the good in them and be grateful for something that came out of it. And maybe not everything works out that way, but almost everything does. And knowing, and I think by doing that, it just becomes a habit. And I don't
It
know.
creates change.
Yeah, like I guess
Right.
I am just so
And
grateful for everything. If I want to try
yeah.
something, I just try it. That's the great thing about being in your 60s. I wanted to try to make jewelry, so I just did. You know, I want to try to eat vegan. I just try it. It's not going to hurt me, and I'm way more courageous. I'm not really afraid of anything,
Mhm.
and I'm grateful for that. I mean, I think that I look back and I think, wow, I'm grateful I've grown out of that, and I'm grateful that this has happened and this outcome came. And I don't know, it again, I think it becomes a habit. Um,
Yeah, and we all go through traumatic events in our lives, right? And learning from them and learning how to embrace that doesn't necessarily embody who you are in that trauma, that things can change, and being grateful about every little step you take
mhm.
along that journey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm
I
resonating with your piece regarding trauma. And I'm
mhm,
thinking, I've known people in my life that have been traumatized in really horrific ways. Um, but I've noticed that those people that's come out of trauma are people that are taking it that second at a time, that minute at a time, those few minutes of it at a time. And I also know that part of self-care and, thinking about Reiki and other modalities that allow the healing to take place, it's the movement of the energy, that negative energy out of the body so that you can invite into the body that better space, that better comfort, that better whatever
mhm.
whatever it is that allows us. But I'm not sure that our listeners all really understand the point of this energy, and I wonder if you could put some light to that.
I'll just share a little bit about myself.
For sure.
In 2017, well, 2016, I already learned bioenergy healing and how to heal yourself and to help others heal. But in 2017, I was at the mass shooting in Vegas and ran for my life. And that's when the trauma happened. And I used bioenergy on myself. I went to counselors and all of that, and it just didn't resonate with my soul. And I reached out to some of my bioenergy friends, teachers, and I furthered myself in the bioenergy. I am also a teacher myself of bioenergy. So that helped me in the trauma, in taking each little step and embracing how much it counts in your life and knowing the triggers, because the triggers are going to happen around you every day. Sight, what you see, what you hear, what the smells, you don't realize until they actually happen. And those are stuck emotions in our bodies,
Yeah.
in our souls, in our chakras, right? And so I feel very grateful that I'm able to help others through different traumas in their lives. It's not all going to be about that kind of trauma. There's all traumas, and every one of them is different, and every one of them is valuable to break free from.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that you forget necessarily the things
No.
that's happened in your life, but rather what it does is it moves it from being
Mhm.
detrimental into your life to being one
Mhm.
that's manageable and that you can carry on with. First of all, I really want to apologize that you ever had to experience anything like that. I
Mhm.
think that is the fear that must have been with you during such a time. I can only I can only commiserate with you, Fawn, because I've never experienced anything like that, and wouldn't know how to honor that in a way that's appropriate. So
Oh,
my
thank you.
I just want to tell you that I'm so sorry that you experienced that. It is really that's pretty tough stuff.
Thank you. But it's enabled me to be so grateful for life, right?
Yeah, and there's something quite wonderful about the things that we've experienced through trauma base,
Mhm.
right? Is that it does propel us into finding parts of ourselves we didn't even know existed. I think that most people at one level or another in their lives, in one way or another, have experienced some form of trauma, whether
Mhm.
familial or whether it's external or whether it's
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
like there's a lot of it. And especially, it seems these days every time we turn on the television, someone is
Yeah.
fleeing lives or someone is trying to find a sense of peace, and we can't control all of those things,
Mhm.
No.
but we can be kind to ourselves and find some
Exactly.
ourselves that will allow us to heal, whether it's done through light therapy or whether it's done through Reiki or massage or any
Yeah.
form that's healthy.
Mhm.
Then it does. I think it grows us in a way that
Yeah.
allows us to open up to be able to use those pains for something quite fantastic moving ahead,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
and I think that can be very overwhelming, what's going on in the world.
So
I and I think that just bringing it back to the present and affecting what you can affect, putting the goodness out there, not the fear out there, and being kind and kind of sharing that joy and that positiveness with the people around you because it's a wave and we can't do anything about the big picture, but we
The
can
present
control
moment.
our environment and our present moment.
Mhm.
Um,
And
and
sometimes people get stuck, and that's okay
oh
too.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
Like it's sometimes being stuck is only stuck temporarily. There will eventually be another light at the end of the tunnel, but sometimes we need
absolutely.
to go through those challenges in order to
Yeah,
give us the strength to move forward or to see things a little bit
yeah,
differently as a result of
Mhm.
what we've learned in process. I don't necessarily think that all trauma is a bad thing when it comes
No.
to, our growth. But I do think that getting stuck
Mhm.
can be detrimental. And
I
so when
agree.
we find options and opportunity to get unstuck, I think it is
Yeah,
a win-win for people. Does that make
it's
sense?
so true. Yeah,
Oh,
because really, I know my husband. He's a football player, and one of his coaches said um, like
Hmm.
you never stay in the same place. You're either going backwards or forwards. There is no standing still, and that has always stuck with me. That you know, there's only two ways. There isn't
Yeah.
really. So I always make sure I'm moving forward. And I mean, my whole life, I've been that person that just prays about everything. Like I just, in my head, I'm just having this whole conversation, and in my heart, I'm believing that it's going to be okay. It doesn't feel okay right now, and I've had some rugs pulled out from under me, some big ones, and it didn't feel okay at the time. But I always believed it was going to be okay, and actually, it ended up being better.
Yeah.
But you have to and surround yourself with the right people.
So true.
When you put it out there, it's you start to find them, they start to find you. But it is those little things. I mean, it sounds cliche, but I think that if you're running around blue and crabby and feeling sorry for yourself and feeling hopeless, I mean, I would say get help for sure. But you have to help yourself a little bit and get around people that are going to care for you and help you get in the direction you want to get. And some people don't want to be unstuck, and that's okay too. That's where they want to be. That's
But
just not us.
surrounding yourself with like-minded people, I think is a
Yes.
really wonderful thing, and especially for the positivity. And it sounds like your foundation for Aurora Wellness as well has been about lifting up, right? Rising
mhm.
up, growing up, feeling, putting yourself in a position where you can be surrounded by joy all of the time is going to continually bring that joy to you, whether, through the nature of energy. I agree with you completely.
Well, it's your vibration, right? So
Vibration,
when
yeah.
when you're around other people and they're vibrating up here, and you're feeling down here, you're gonna match. You can raise that vibration so you start to feel better. If somebody is so low, actually helping to maintain your vibration up here is so important. Oh, the power came on.
Yay! Positive energy brings light.
Right?
And I think because we have had trauma and stumbles, we can genuinely relate and share. And share, I mean, it is a process. And I think that we can often share how to get moving in the right direction. Just as a part of everything we do. This isn't, I mean, you get a clinical treatment when you're here in a non-clinical environment. And I think that is...
I think you get an experience.
Yes, it's just amazing.
And for people that are not used to that kind of experience, it's even more wonderful, because when you go into a place and you feel really good, you're starting to look for other really good things too. Like, it's like, oh, well, that felt really, really lovely. I think I might want to give that another go. Like, and so you start finding that joy in all kinds of wonderful places. And like you said, like Maya's, you come together, and then before you know it, you're surrounded by a community of givers and people that are wanting to raise the whole vibrational feeling into such a lovely way.
We get that a lot. What else can I do?
What else can I do? Yeah. Well, you said a few things that I want to do, so I'm just like going to put that out there. We did tell people to go get a piece of paper and a pen. How can people find you?
So they can reach us at AuroraWellnessCentre.com, and center is spelled with an R-E.
The true Canadian way.
True Canadian way, exactly. So they can reach us on the website. We are on Instagram and social media under the same, Facebook under the same name. Shannon does a lot of posts on her Facebook. And so you might want to tell your Facebook for people.
Yeah, mine is Shannon Groenewegen, and I'm always sharing Aurora's posts and all the things that we're up to, which is a lot. And we're going to be getting into even more trouble soon. So.
Well, I'm loving you guys getting into trouble. And one of the things that's been attracting me for trouble is that you have been putting up a lot of beautiful bracelets and gorgeous jewelry. So is this something that you bring in or something that you make? Shannon, how does the jewelry come to the conversation?
I started making them to improve my hand-eye coordination because I'm going to the gym to improve other muscles. But I felt like as you get older, that's not as strong. And it actually, in a month, I notice a huge difference. So I'm making them. I was making them for myself and Louise and my sister, my niece. But now people are requesting them. So I have been selling them, and we are going to have them here as I make them.
Oh, so, but I think it's so lovely. They're for those of people who cannot see this show, like, they are so pretty. They're so pretty.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Do you follow crystal therapy as well? Is that something that you guys do, or is that not?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Crystal therapy, did you say? Yeah.
I did.
I do. I use crystal therapy in my bioenergy sessions as well. So I'll even do a crystal therapy massage. I offer that as well. So yes. Crystals, smudging. We do it all.
I'm so glad you do it all, because really I do know the health benefits behind it. There's something wonderful about being pampered and spoiled and just feel, all of your cares are taken away in this way. And I love the whole idea of all of it. I'm particularly also interested in some of the other things that you do. You mentioned that that there's someone who is renting your space who does acupuncture.
She's amazing.
And she's a Chinese medicine as well. So she's her name is Celine Acupuncture, and she's out in the news as well. But she comes here and has clients that come to her as well. Yeah.
It's nice that you could build, like, bridge the modalities and just kind of do a
Mhm.
variety of different things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what are some of the things that you've learned about yourself in this experience of putting together this business, but the two of you are working together on? Like, what are you learning through this whole process?
You know, at any age, you can change,
Yeah.
really. You know, you feel stuck maybe in a job or especially like a corporate job.
Mhm.
And, you know, just to embrace life and know that one change might take you in one direction, might not be the best.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of feel like you're not going in the right direction, but if you change again, you might get right on
Mhm.
that perfect path.
Yeah.
And I think um, my dad actually said to me, because I kept wondering if I should go back to Viha, and my dad said, he said, give it your all. If you never give it your all, you're never going to give it your all.
Yeah.
So
Smart
I
dad.
gave it my all,
Mhm.
and I'm loving my life.
Mhm.
So, how long have you been doing this work then? When did you leave
So
Vietnam?
I started the center. So it used to be a guy shop, but I changed into the center. And I know when guys come here and they look and they go, I said, oh, it used to be a guy shop. They go, oh,
It's the
really?
vaulted ceilings.
The
It's the
vaulted
ceiling.
ceilings. And yeah,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
it's beautiful. So I started back in 2017. Well, in the beginning of 2017. So a lot of the work inside I did myself, like the painting and all of that. But
The kitchen cupboards are so beautiful. She has kind of a event kitchen, and
yeah.
everybody always asks me where did she get her cupboards, but she did them.
So I love putting myself into every kind of little nook and cranny as well. And
Wow.
so it was open in December of 2017. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a few years. So really to make it through COVID, I feel very blessed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's something amazing that from 2017, because you would have been experiencing some changes with COVID, for like almost half of the time you've been open, really.
Yeah.
So congratulations. That's a huge, huge accomplishment to be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many
Thank you.
places shut down. It's unfortunate that
Mhm.
they did, but
That-
it also gave birth to new and wonderful ways of doing things. And so
mhm.
I don't think that COVID was all bad for a lot of people. It really
Mhm.
made people take a good look at who they are and what they want from their lives in the way of creativity. What kind of businesses could they do
Mhm.
to get
So
away
true.
from race? Like what
Mhm.
else is there?
Yes.
And
Um,
what resonates with people's soul, right? Like you're like,
yeah,
you know what? This resonates with me, so I'm going to try that. Or,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that that's very important to actually go with what resonates with your heart.
And I think it
absolutely.
gave us time, like between COVID and being in the phase of my life I'm at, I've had more time to give to other people as well, to
Mhm.
help, to I've just had that flexibility. But what I've realized is, it just comes back tenfold.
Mhm.
Oh,
I've
yes.
been, and I'm busier than I've ever been, but doing the things that I love to do and being with people I love to be with.
Mhm.
Well, there's a few things that you've said today that really stick with me. And there's one, I'll paraphrase from a comment that a friend told me many, many years ago. And he said, what water always finds its own level. So you're
Yeah.
constantly rising to find that level of where you are. And that in itself is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So
Mhm.
there's that piece of it. But also I think that change is I like you, I'm in the same age group. And so for me, I find that as I've gotten older, the things that were important to me when I was 40 or 50 or 55 or 60, like they were one that they're different. They've changed, they've evolved. I'm
Mhm.
constantly growing and learning new things. And I
Yeah.
think that that's really the success of staying young as well. But I
Yeah.
also think that fear gets people to do things they wouldn't otherwise do. And it also gets in our own way of finding happiness and joy.
Mhm.
And so I think if we can just, put fear on the back burner and not let
Yes.
it control us, and instead
Yeah.
pursue opportunities where we're not afraid, even if we're
Yeah.
first beginning to do it. Like, don't get me wrong, but I'm sure that in 2017, when you opened up Aurora, you weren't 100% sure if it was going to fly, right? I'm sure
Right?
that there were moments where you were going, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I thinking? Right? And
Yeah.
so you still have courageously and boldly stepped forward to build something that not only is good for your soul, but as water rises, you bring the souls of so many other incredible people
Yeah.
to
So
you to
true.
grow. And I think that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I realized recently that and I used to be kind of a fearful, anxious person in my younger years. And I would say 99.9% of what I was worried about or afraid of never happened.
Yes.
Probably two traumatic things that happened in my life I never saw coming, and they knocked me on my keister. And what the gift of those two events was that I'm really not afraid anymore, because I realized I didn't see it coming. I survived it, but also all the things I thought were going to take me down never even made a little blip in my life.
So true.
So now I'm not that fearful of things. There's the odd little thing here and there, but I get over it pretty quick. But I'm much more courageous, and especially in following your heart and your dreams and doing what you love, very fearless in that area. And I think there's safety in numbers. Like, we've come together and we're both even more fearless now.
Yeah.
Let's go find this out. Let's try this. If we don't succeed, oh well.
Yeah. If you don't succeed, oh well, and clearly you are succeeding, so it's working extremely well. And you get to see a side of yourself that you might not have had a look at a few years ago, right?
Yeah, and meet
that
people that we wouldn't have met, which is
Yeah.
my favorite thing.
Yeah, my favorite too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I love meeting new people. I've certainly, enjoyed meeting the two of you today and getting to know you a little bit.
Likewise.
It's
Thank
Yeah.
so,
you.
for me, it's such a wonderful gift. Like, not only we were talking about water levels rising, we get to meet the people in our lives that reflect some of our similar values. And what I think was wonderful about that is that brings that continuum to the next level as well. Like, those things that you might not have done 10 years ago, it's because it wasn't time yet. 10 years later, okay, it's time, right?
Yeah.
So everything happens as it's supposed to, when it's
Agreed.
supposed to. And
It's a flow.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
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 I felt like that from the first moment I chatted with you. I said to Louise, she's just our people. Like, just from a short conversation, I just love
I'm
your
totally your
energy.
people. I'm totally your people. And you're totally my people. It's perfect.
Perfect.
And perfect is good. Perfect is not perfect. Perfect is feeling comfortable in your own skin. And
Yeah.
I think what I love about working in this way is that when you work doing your passion, you're never working a day in your life,
True.
right? And so I never feel like I'm working. I know that I am. I've got lots of no doubt. I know I am. But at the end of the day, it doesn't feel exhausting. It feels fulfilling. And there's a
Yeah.
difference between that, right?
Absolutely.
Well, because you're feeding your soul, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever we feed our soul, it's a good thing. I want to feed my soul on some more therapy from you guys. So how
Okay.
about we tell people a little bit more about how they can reach you one more time? And then we're going to go into, because we're nearing the end of the show already, if you can believe it. We'll start talking about some life lessons and things like that. But at the end of the day, how do people find you, and what, if you could, have, you already did say that the light therapy was your favorite, but if there was something for an entry level for somebody who has no idea of what any of this looks like, what might be your favorite entry level treatment from Aurora?
I would say come in for a consultation and chat, and tell us about your goals and what your conditions are. People don't know what a light laser does, but they know the language. I have a brown spot, or I have extra hair that I don't want to shave anymore, or I have congestive pores, or I have a tattoo I need removed, or I have rosacea, or I have pain or inflammation, or I just don't feel well. Just come in, and there's no charge to chat, and we want to help. So if we can, we will, and we share knowledge. We don't, that's what we do. We share what we can offer.
And finding the best treatment modality that really will work for them, understanding who they are, like you said. Yeah. Finding what resonates with them.
And it could be a phone call. It could be a message, but I think I just come, and you can shop here. So come in and shop and get a candle or some lovely body product or something, and just chat and just visit. And
What a wonderful idea. So they can find you at aurorawellnesscentre.com. You're located in Nanu's. And so by all means, if people want to reach out to you, that's one way to do it, or to follow your Facebook. And for those of you who have just tuned in to Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM, thanks for tuning in. Happy Monday. We hope you're having a wonderful time so far. And I would encourage you to check these guys out, because they really are spectacular women who know what they're doing, and they have got what it takes to make you feel fabulous. And so make sure you reach out to them. So aurorawellnesscentre.com. As we end the program today, I wonder if each of you could share with me your thoughts on that teachable moment. I always like, you talked a minute ago, Shannon, which I love when you said about or maybe it was, I'm sorry, it could have actually been Louise. One of you said
we're one.
the knowledge, always sharing the knowledge, right? So if you were ever to sort of look at your life and look at this experience for you, what would you want to imbibe on the community as a takeaway learning for the day?
I would say find your joy. Go for it. Find like-minded people, women. I mean, I love men, but there's something special about the sisterhood. And don't be afraid to try something. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is just learning. And I wish that I'd started doing that at a younger age, but of course we're always so busy doing other things, but I was sort of afraid to fail, and now I'm not. Now I do look at it as learning, and just find your joy. Have a joy day. I used to do that too. One day where I did everything I love to do, ate everything I love to eat, drank everything I love to drink, and once a month just had a joy day. Insert one of those into your life, and then kind of start getting addicted to self-care and to loving yourself and to creating joy for yourself. And when you're starting to feel that, it's going to
expand.
Yeah, it is. That's our word.
That's our word.
Expand.
That's our word. Expand. You bet.
Yeah. And, embracing all the elements as well, right? So I find for a lot of people, they just need to ground sometimes, and being out in nature. And we do also walking meditations, and we live near Englishman River. So it's a great, our space here is very spiritual in a lot of ways. We're definitely in and surrounded by loving nature. We even have deer that come right up to the door.
Oh, I love that.
She even has a 260-pound pig named Bacon that she's rescued, and he is a character.
Oh my God, I love the idea that there's a pig there. That just makes me so happy.
The stray bunny, they all seek her out. But we love animals. So.
Yes, I think that there's something to be said for having animals. What I know for myself, self-care looks like to me, it does look like having that full joy day of eating what I want and drinking what I want and wearing what I want. And, because I think that sometimes when we look at ourselves in the mirror as we're aging, I see inside who I am, but sometimes when I look on the outside, it's not reflective of who I am on the inside anymore. right? Like that's
Absolutely.
just the nature of getting older. It's part of it.
And throw out the magnifying mirror. That's not how
That's
people
the
see
point.
you.
No.
Your pores are not this big. We
No, they're
can't
not.
even see them. You know, when you think about when you meet a person, you take in the whole person, your smile, your voice, your personality, what you're wearing.
Yeah.
It's the whole package. Don't focus on that one little negative thing. Focus on the whole package and the positive things.
And
Absolutely.
my dad always said, like he was 92 when he passed away just almost 2 years ago now. But when I asked him about like aging, and he says, well, you know, up here, I still feel like I'm 25. It's just the body.
Yeah.
And so he did things that he thought he could do. And thought is a very,
Yes.
very important thing to embrace, because if we can think it, we can change it,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
We can embrace it and embody it more. So, yeah.
I've learned the same
So
thing
if
from my
you-
dad.
yeah.
Exact same thing.
And if you do things that bring you joy, and if it doesn't have to be full day all in one cup,
No.
right? You can have like a little joy every single day.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's almost like a little bit of pleasure and
it becomes a habit.
habit.
And I think our habits are about being restricted and dieting and you know, we're hard on ourselves. But I think that when you do release that and just let go of that, even for a day or an hour, it's good for you.
Well, I feel like my cup has been filled with joy just spending this time with you guys. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for
No,
being part of
thank
Act
you.
3.
Yeah.
What a great opportunity to get to know you. And I do hope that our community will, in fact, reach out to Aurora Wellness Centre.com and check out some of the fantastic services that they have for you. This is another Monday, another day to be grateful for all kinds of fantastic things. Make sure that you do something that inspires you today. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Act 3.